Hello, everyone, and welcome to this week's episode of the 365 Message Center Show. This week, we're going to cover normal 6 messages that we normally have, the number. However, 3 of those I wanted to highlight. And the first one is I'm finally going to be able to understand what Daryl is saying in Teams meetings because an interpreter is coming. We'll talk about the interpreter agent. The Windows finally has a public published roadmap, and we're going to talk about how you can find that and what's the value of the Windows roadmap. And then the third one I wanted to highlight is one that I'm love using is graph connectors, bringing in content into M365 so it can be used by Search and Copilot. Well, we're getting a bunch more of those, and they're really, really useful. So excited to talk about that. Those and more on this week's episode 373. Stick around. Let's do it.
Stick around.
Now.
Stick around. Yeah.
Hello, everybody.
When is modern, Daniel? When is modern?
Modern is now.
Right now.
For those on the audio
Wherever
podcast,
whenever you are.
I'm wearing my #ModernIsNow t-shirt, so that's why I did it last. Hello, everybody. Episode 373. So, Daryl, you don't like celebrating our monumental episodes, but do you find some...
I celebrate every episode, Daniel. That's my point.
Do you find happiness in symmetry? Like, do you find some in, it's 373?
Oh, actually, yeah, kind of. I mean, I can see that, if there was a character in the numerals that was a backwards 3, maybe like a capital E, then I might agree. Okay. You see?
Yeah, sure. Yes, we would love to connect with everyone. Hit us up on all the socials that matter at 365MCS, as well as continue to leave those comments down below on the video and YouTube. We love to engage with you there as well. We will, get that banter going. We'd love to hear your thoughts about these messages that we covered this week and whether or not you find that we picked the right ones. Did we leave out some that you would have rather us talk about? Let's talk about it in chat, and we'd love to get your opinions on that.
Well, why didn't we cover the one about the interpreter agent in Teams meetings? Oh, we did. We are right now.
Get to it, Daryl. It's yours.
Get to it. It's a Copilot one. Let me repeat that title. Interpreter agent in Teams meetings. Copilot. For those who are listening, and I have made a bracket symbol with a thumb and 4 fingers on both hands around Copilot. MC 1038409, get on with it, Daryl. This is actually going to be quite a significant thing. As Daniel tried to joke in the intro of the show, he has trouble understanding my accent, but it goes beyond translating New Zealand into American English. It will also be translating other languages. And, the good thing about this is that certainly for countries like the US, like even here in New Zealand, we have all kinds of languages that are spoken, and sometimes people are in workplaces and communities where even within our own countries we have, language barriers. And to be able to offer services to help people who... in my country, maybe they speak Samoan or Tongan or Cook Island, to be able to reach them with these sorts of tools and have that translation happening in our Teams meetings. So really cool. Of course, we're also, Daniel and I, very experienced around having conversations around the world with different people too. So, it could be that I'm delivering a training session to someone in Korea, South Korea, or the Philippines, and it could do all the translation for us. So the good thing about this, Daniel, I believe, is that it is happening live and right there in the experience.
Yeah, and I like the thought of being able to the voice be close to your voice, having a simulating your voice. Which would be kind of weird, but at least it's not, something that is odd. We've all heard those interpretive, voices, and you're like, oh, that doesn't sound anything, like me. So I like that part.
I know that we're talking about another product in this comment here, but YouTube had added this feature too for people hearing the audio spoken in their own language, not necessarily matching our actual voice. But some of you who might be listening from around the world might have heard our videos switch over to that experience, and maybe we spoke in German, potentially.
Da.
But it's good to have this kind of feature. Would you say yeah? You got to work on your yaws.
Sorry.
So yeah, there's certainly a lot more detail in there in terms of what else you can do from a user's perspective, and let's see, like language. You can choose the language that you want to listen to. You can balance the audio so that, and this is important too, isn't it? Because it is still hearing and playing your voice, but the translated audio is kind of in parallel over the top of that. So you might want to balance it so that my voice, for example, is lower, but the translated voice is a little louder so that you can focus in on that. So take a look at some of those details, and there are some feature controls there for admins too around the. This is a premium feature, isn't it? No, I forget.
365
some of the other
Copilot.
stuff. Office 365.
Ooh, watch it now. Whoa.
No, that's not the logo at all. Microsoft 365 Copilot feature.
Yep.
Yes. Targeted release. We'll be rolling this out to late March and expected to be complete by early April. So kind of it's happening now.
Well,
go looking for it in your Teams
one thing
meetings.
it's not very clear, but I think you got to remember who needs that license. It's the person that's listening, right?
Yeah,
So
that's true.
but the person who's speaking needs to set up, if they want to simulate their voice. So they're going to need one.
Did I completely miss that? So I might have misrepresented all of this.
No, I don't think so.
If you're working with customers and people who...
I think it's both.
They won't have a
both.
license.
I think it's like both of you have to do something. One has to, if you want to have the simulation of your voice, but the other person, that opt in on this, they have to have the license, right? Because it doesn't.
Users can opt in to have interpreters simulate their voice.
See,
That
it's
would
the
be
very
me
bottom.
sending it to you.
Yeah.
And then at the very bottom, license requirement to participate in the public preview, use interpreters in Teams meetings. Any user with Microsoft 365 Copilot license can enable during the meeting.
Yeah. So it says at the very bottom, any users with a Microsoft 365 Copilot license can enable interpreter during a meeting. Beyond preview access, additional licensing details will be communicated prior to GA. So,
see, I read that to mean that if I'm a meeting organizer, I can turn it on.
Yeah.
But the people on the other end who are receiving that don't need it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was asking questions. Because I don't.
Yeah.
That's
right.
It's very
We all
much.
need to.
It's not like clear to me anyway. Of exactly how that works, but I prescribe, Daryl, to your way of thinking on this.
All right. Well, feel free to unsubscribe at any time.
No, don't ever say that on a video. If you're not subscribed, subscribe down below on YouTube.
Hey, there's something else you might subscribe to as well. If you're not looking at the roadmap that Microsoft puts out for their products, there's a nice addition to that, which, well, we've got some thoughts. Daniel?
Introducing the Windows roadmap. This is MC1042590. How long's Windows been around? Windows been around for quite a while. We finally have a roadmap, a public roadmap that you can look at. Just like you can go out and look at M365 roadmap. Well, now there's a Windows roadmap. I saw some communications and thoughts on the socials this week when this was announced as, wow, this is great. It needs some improvements, but wow, this is, at least we have something.
Yeah.
So, you can go to the roadmap and you are able to do some filtering, versions and, status filtering of, what it's rolling out and where it's rolling out. So Insider has several options. There's rings, as they may be called. So you can, and then retail is the normal version, the one that's not Insider, Windows Insider. But you can go out and see what they're working on, and that's kind of cool. I think right now it's not, for me. It's nothing that is announced. Announcing that they haven't already announced, if that makes sense. Meaning, you can go out onto the M365 roadmap and you can see things that are there that are kind of hinted at, and some even that are talking about what it, kind of, you can really tell what it is before there's even an announcement, right? Because that's really the way things work. Roadmap, something's put on the roadmap, and then it comes to maybe a blog post, a message center post, etc. So I'm not seeing anything on here that's like announcing something they're working on that's rolling out at the end of the year, right? I don't see any on here right now, but maybe it will be. Maybe that's something they'll do.
Well, when's Windows Recall coming out? Because this Click to Do preview is talking about a recall snapshot.
Yeah, so both Windows Recall and Click to Do are says preview available November 2024, but it doesn't say when it's actually going to roll out. Anyway, so it's a good thing. I won't say it's a great first start, but it's at least it's there. So hopefully we will see some improvements down the road. So it's available now. Go ahead and check it out. Speaking of checking things out, Daryl, let us know how we can do better research, sir, using Copilot.
I will. You could go to a certain third-party product, but we're not here to talk about that. We're actually here to talk about how it's actually making its debut in the Microsoft 365 Copilot space. So this is Microsoft 365 Copilot, new Researcher and Analyst agents, MC 104-1319. Oh, I joke, but it is built on the same technology that OpenAI is using for deep research. I personally tried it out recently, and it's actually quite cool to be able to give it some instructions that clarify some things, and it comes back. We kind of don't know what the experience is like yet for the Microsoft version of this, but it's likely to be kind of similar. So there's Researcher as an agent, and it's an agent experience. You will go to an agent in the Copilot, in Microsoft 365 Copilot, and say, go and research this for me, and you'll give it some instructions. It'll come back and have deeper responses than just the first 10 bullet points from the first 10 blog posts that it's come across. Ooh. Okay, I'm simplifying things there. But it's going to be a lot more detailed than what we're used to. Cool. Analyst. This is a reasoning model, and it is naming some of these models here that is going to be used. So the analyst one will leverage the OpenAI O3 mini reasoning model. So this will help us to make more sense of data, which will be better than the standard experience we might have in Excel today. But good to have these two options coming into Microsoft 365 Copilot. Again, I'm saying the full name to let you know clearly it's not a free experience. You do have to have the Microsoft 365 Copilot license. No word on whether there's a pay-as-you-go option or anything yet. What do you need to do to prepare? Well, if I can say and talk about that at the same time as when will this happen? begins rolling out in April 2025. So how do you prepare? Well, get your queries ready. Get your prompts ready. See how it goes for you. I will say this, though, Daniel, too. The OpenAI ChatGPT model, you need to buy a subscription. Okay, got that. The equivalent is Microsoft 365 Copilot. Got that, cool. But the ChatGPT version has a limit to the number of times you can do this per month. And we don't yet see anything around limitations yet in the Microsoft offering. So interested to hear what that looks like.
And
there is a link.
There is a link there to see the announcement, but also right above that, it talks about this new frontier program that you have to be part of to get this, and it's a early access program, and so that I don't know that I've heard of that. Maybe I have, and I just don't remember. But like, how do you get access to the frontier program? Like, what does that look like? I don't know. You gotta
join Starfleet for starters. It seems like a Trek reference, Star Trek reference.
It kind of does, doesn't it?
Like
kind of does.
Yeah. Again, listeners, I did a Vulcan welcome. Thank you very much. Yes. Well, I mean, yes. Good point. While it says that it's going to be available from rolling out April 2025, it looks like you got to be on the Frontier program. So use the link to check out the additional things in the message. Well, that sort of covers everything. If we just said that in every message, Daniel.
Wait, you got to kick us. You got to give us.
This is the
we won't have a job. Hold on now.
Go down there and use deep research or something to read the message at the other end of the link, and you're done, right? You're fine. You don't need us. We're just AI, really.
We're gonna edit all this out.
Okay, stop. Watch our ratings go down. Hey, but do tell me about connecting things. I can't segue this one. I've just been mucking around.
It's pretty
with
bad.
Words. It is. You go.
It's kind of like using Google Drive when you're working in Office. New Microsoft Graph connectors now available for Microsoft 365 Copilot, MC1041458. I mentioned Google Drive because that's part of this. We are getting 14 new graph connectors that you will be able to use. And what are graph connectors? These are connectors that we can point to data sources that are outside of our M365 tenant and pull in of sorts that content. So it's pulling in that information into our semantic index so it can be used by, in this case, Copilot to be able to surface information. So we're getting these new ones. Now we've had, other ones, we've already used Confluence, maybe Oracle. We've talked about some of these before. Jira, Asana is a new one that is coming, along with Zendex, Salesforce Knowledge, Jira Data Center, Google Drive and Dropbox, as well as SharePoint on-prem. So what you're going to be able to do is you set up these connectors. You can go in and there's a link there. If you're an admin, you'll be able to get to that link and start using these connectors. And we've talked about these before in this. You're able to pull in for free. I think it was 5 million items, something like that, if I remember correctly. So you'll be able to pull in 50 million items at no additional cost. So 50 million items from all of these sources and be able to bring in that content and have it available for Copilot to generate answers for you. Okay. So I'm pretty excited about this because you can think about, hey, we've got, on-prem SharePoint. We need to pull in that data and we're not going to migrate that content anytime soon. Maybe it's old stuff and we got all these solutions built on top of it and we can't migrate it and it's a huge project, blah, blah, blah. Okay, fine. Bring in that content using a graph connector so at least your users can use it and find that content and generate content off of it while you think of and hire me to do your migration from on-prem to SharePoint Online. Same thing for, I've had a lot of conversations with organizations where, they have users using Dropbox or Google Drive for things. And man, we wish they wouldn't, but now they have it. And now they have processes that are linked to that. We can't get them off. How do we integrate? Well, now you can integrate that content so it can be used in getting insights, and generating content using Copilot, and then work on that later, right? It's not such an urgent thing. You can get that functionality in the hands of your users. So I'm really excited about this, and I'd love to hear if you're excited. Hit us up in the chat down below in the video, and or on all the socials that matter at 365 MCS. We love to. What are your thoughts on this? Are you going to use this? Remember, you can use this as well as indexing, public websites, and others. There's a lot of these connectors now, up to 50 million items for free. So why not? Why not do it? Why not try it out? And especially if you're using some of these systems, right? I highly suggest you get out there and try it out. So this is rolling out now. Well, not now. It rolled out before because it's available now. It's there. You'll see those. They're in preview, but you can go ahead and check out these graph connectors.
Is that the shorthand for we already rolled it out? Sorry, we didn't tell you.
Yes, kind of. Available. Okay. It's available now. We didn't want to, it's kind of them saying, "Oh, it was so good. We just didn't want to hold it back. We just went ahead and gave it to you." And then, and then we'll tell you about it later.
Very cool.
Yeah. Daryl,
I'm listening.
I really have a hard time explaining to my customers sometimes about when they're trying to create content, how can they get to sites and create content quickly across many sites and navigate through that. And tell us about an innovation here that Microsoft is bringing us that is going to really help doing that, creating content and seeing content we have created recently.
Certainly, Microsoft SharePoint Online, because there's no other SharePoint Online, manage SharePoint pages using the left navigation pane, MC 1042934. If you looked at this title in the list and you thought, I don't know what that means, I'll give my attention to the next thing in the item, you could be forgiven for that. You're like, oh, left navigation pane, okay. But once you open it up and you take a look, and you might even do what Daniel and I did, and we opened up our SharePoint app in the browser. You go to m365.cloud.microsoft, open up the SharePoint app in your app launcher, and you would normally see your frequent and followed sites and other things that have been pinned there by your admins, and that experience. But at the top of that page now is a little preview experience you can go into. Here, wait for it. It focuses in on pages that you have been working on and sites that you have access to where you might have been working on those pages. So think of it like it's the Word web app, for example, when we go to m365.cloud.microsoft, the home, M365 home. And for Word, we can see here's the documents that are suggested you check out. Down in the list, here's the things that you've been working on and stuff that other people might have been working on too. We'll have that same experience for managing pages that we're responsible for. I think that's a really nice way to pick up from where you left off, to contribute to pages and sites if you're quite active in that space as a content creator for your sites. And that means that you could do this without necessarily having to go to the site to continue. You can just go straight in and just focus on the page content in terms of working on it and the like. So that looks like quite a cool experience. I encourage you to go through and check it out. There's actually, I like this message, SharePoint. Your team is fantastic at giving good guidance and visuals and links to various things. Breaking it down, even look, there's an FAQ section at the bottom of the message. Daniel, I haven't seen one of those for a while, with links off to things, I think. No, those are just underlines. But yeah, check it out. Yeah, anything that you'd add? What was your first impression when you opened it up with me a few moments ago?
Yeah, my first impression, it has that, hey, I can create a page, but then also whenever you click on a site in that navigation, it shows the pages on that site. So it is a way you can manage content without going to those sites directly, right? You can go, oh, on this site, I know I need to go update that page with some information that we, are announcing or we, just needs to be updated. It's my content. I can, curate that content. Like you, as a content owner, you need to keep your information fresh and new. And I think it'll help those organizers really get through their pages and update them and making sure they're reflecting the right content quicker instead of having to go to each site. What's this page look like, etc. So I think not only creating new, but also managing existing really will help.
Yeah. Now it is in preview, so it's your first experience of here's the pages that you've been working on. There is a section at the top of each of these sites that you might click into that you can create it based on a template, and maybe eventually there we might see the templates that we've created for those sites too. So yeah, expect more to come here in this space, but try it out. Let us know what you think. And this, as I said, it's available. Well, it was available now to us. General availability. They're going to roll it out early March and complete by late April, so it might still be coming to some of you. I know some of you come across our videos and you see that and go, I don't see that in my experience. It's on the way. And it seems to be making good progress as it rolls out. Daniel, in terms of rolling out and changes, there's one message you wanted to definitely draw people's attention to. What's happening in Purview?
Well, and they also put a prefix basically to the title, prevent/fix. Microsoft Purview, HR connector, new sample PowerShell script, MC1042929. So there is a way that for insider risk management, you can have a HR connector use a script to bring in that information in to be part of Purview and make that analysis. And with 3 days notice, so they published this on March 28th, and you have to take action now, right? March 31st, you got to take action now. You need to update that script. So if you're not doing this, it's fine. You can disregard and go ahead and give us a thumbs up and on the video, leave your comments and say a good day. I get that. Before you do, make sure you're subscribing to us. But for those of you that may be using this or playing around with this and testing this, they're updating it, and you need to use this new script. They've got all the links here to the GitHub repo. Get to it and replace it. Now, I wanted to highlight this for a couple of reasons. One is just how quick they're making this change. So it has been announced for 3 days now, and you got to get on this if you're using this, right? Is this a security issue? Is this why are they making it so quick? Why is this change happening so fast? I don't know. And maybe you do. And if you do, throw it down in the comments. I'd love to hear from you, and let's learn together. So just a quick update. Now, there is a different script for whatever, depending on which environment you're in. So if you're in the normal, like commercial cloud, there's the first script. If you're in GCC High, DoD, there's separate scripts for those. So definitely check that out if you're using this, or if you're thinking about using it. There's a new script available, PowerShell script for that. Okay, so check that out. And that's all I got. That's
all you got.
That's all we've got. Yeah, it's a mighty good show. Hopefully, I hope you agree. Again, love to hear your comments and thoughts. Throw it down in below. And if you're on audio podcast, you can hit us up on the socials, and that'd be the way you can start the conversation or continue it, maybe I should say.
Absolutely. Look, good to be with you this week. Join us again next week as we chat about more stuff arriving, passing our opinions, sharing a few laughs, making a few dad jokes. We'll see you again soon.
Bye.
Bye for now.